Hi, everybody. So we have Kelley and I together today, and we're going to talk about not just the moon that's coming, but also July because it feels really big. And Kelley was telling me she's discovered some amazing things. So I'm really excited to hear about this. And I hope you're doing awesome, Kelley. So, how are
I'm
you doing
doing good.
today?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, really glad it's summer.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, wait, yes, our lilies are up, as you might see. So,
Oh, yeah.
the
Beautiful.
season's just moving right along. So, and so is so are the planets. So,
Yeah.
um, I really wanted to talk about just, the changes that are happening in the next few days. And starting with the new moon, because, right, I had an internet shutdown when we were going to do the new moon video last time, so we never did it. But people can always look at my website and I'm going to put something or other up. Uh, I mean, not my website, my Substack. So, starlady.substack.com. So anyway, but we're going to look today at that new moon to begin with, and kind of see what's happening here because this is really a big month. This is July is the beginning of the Mayan calendar. Not that I know a whole lot about that, but it's kind of halfway through the year, and where are we with all of the planetary changes that we're in the middle of, and
Mhm.
fireworks coming.
Yeah.
So
I love this.
I'll start sharing my screen
Okay.
somewhere. Okay, wait a minute. There we go. Uh-huh. Okay. There we are. That's what I want. Okay, so here's the chart for the new moon. And I know a lot of people who watch us talk about these astrology cycles are not I want to keep it simple, and I want to be focusing on the really important things, not interpret the whole chart. So, so here's the new moon that we had on June 25th, barely a week ago, and
Mhm.
it was in Cancer with Jupiter conjunct the new moon. So that is Jupiter is about wisdom, it's about abundance, it's about amplification, it's about more. And it's giving more. It's giving and nurturing and caring. It's a beautiful place for Jupiter to be. Jupiter loves being in Cancer because it's so growth oriented. It's so lush. It's so fertile. It's so sweet and sensitive, and it's very much about home and family and caring and self-caring too. So this is one of the key themes of this new moon cycle, which goes until the last week in July. So this got us started off. And one of the things that I was that I'm pointing out is this. And this is about the planet Uranus, the change agent, the revolutionary changing sign. Now, we've had, planetary changes, major ones, and this is the next big one because Uranus takes 84 years to go around the sky. And we're seeing here on the new moon, it's at the very end of Taurus. And it's moving, Venus is moving toward it. And Venus rules Taurus, and it's going to be on Uranus on July 4th. Just as then Venus changes sign that very day and goes into Gemini, and Uranus changes sign 3 days later on the 7th. And this is major. So let's look for a minute at that, um, what that is suggesting. So I've shown this slide before. There'll be new people who will not have seen it, but Uranus takes 84 years to go around the sun and through all the zodiac signs. So it doesn't change sign, but every 7 or 8 years. And it's doing that on Monday. So that's big. So, and it's going to stay there. It's going to go in and then out in the fall and back in the spring, and it's going to be in Gemini for the 7 or 8 years, all the way into 2032, 33. So this is Uranus is expect the unexpected. It's stormy, it's volatile, it's a lot of energy, it's electrical, it's revolutionary, it's the awakener. That's my favorite keyword for Uranus. So this it's expect the unexpected, and that's what we're going to get. Now, in for the last 7 years, Uranus has been in Taurus, which is a pretty slow, stable sign, not to say that Uranus hasn't shaken things up like earthquakes and volcanoes and other such things, including what Taurus stands for, which is our material world. It has a lot to do with money and finances and our values. And it's been waking us up to what are our basic necessities, food, shelter, water, how the earth has been changing and how we're needing to come back to the basics. So now that it's changing, it's going to go into Gemini, and it is a fast mover. Gemini is quick. Gemini is like flipping the switch. So it's a big deal how fast things are going to start to change.
Yeah.
You've been saying that too.
Yeah, everything's speeding up, and that's what I've been getting. And when I look at Uranus and all the different planets, I see energies. So they all have their own energy, and some of them have shifted slightly to be with us here in the fifth density. But Gemini to me is like they're the twin, and they can kind of go back and forth. And I feel that now, like what's going on. There's a
Hmm.
lot of shakeup going on right now.
Hmm.
Really
Hmm.
good.
Yeah, we're coming right into this. And so we have Uranus is one of what we call the three outer planets that take a while and have a lot to do with the transformation that's ongoing in the collective consciousness. So when one of these planets switches sign, that's a big deal. And we had Pluto switch sign the last several years. So we have Pluto's in Aquarius now. And in March of this year, we had Neptune change sign and go into Aries, which is the first new sign. And so that's major as well. And now we have the third one of these changing sign. So this is just such an amazing time when there's so much going on in the Uranus awakening, the Neptune, the spiritualizing, and Pluto, the transformation of structures and the deep level of societal change that we're experiencing. So Neptune Neptune and Pluto have both stopped for the moment. What I mean by stopped is they both have turned retrograde. They're like, okay, we've done as much as we're going to this year. So hold on here. Let's let Uranus come in and do its thing. So Uranus is, changing sign on Monday. And
Wow.
it, like you said, Gemini has that double nature. And that's why I say it can be like flipping the switch. And I think we're going to see some switches flip.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like big action is happening in July, and it feels really good. And Gemini is a mover and a shaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is
So,
Uranus. So is Uranus. Yeah.
yes, this is
Yeah.
exciting.
Gemini's kind of like, it's like, okay, what's next? Um,
Mhm.
And there's going to be, and it's about communication, and it's about how we're thinking about things. So Uranus is going to like totally switch some of our mental faculties, some of our perceptions, some of our ideas about what's happening, and some of the news coming out is going to be really, really shocking to a lot of people.
Yeah. And it's time.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
It's great.
Yes. Yeah, the planets agree.
Hmm.
And then Uranus is going to go back into Taurus for some months in the fall and into next winter, but it's things have shifted enough that we're going to have to some extent restabilize or make some more changes. Um, so that's, that's a big deal here.
Yeah.
So these three planets all shifting in a very short time frame is quite unusual. So never a dull moment.
No. Well, and it's time for it to be sped up. So I'm glad
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it's also showing, in the astrology, astral
Yeah.
plane. Yeah.
It
Hmm.
is. So here's I wanted to show the USA chart because the new moon on June 25th, it was in Cancer, and the United States is a Cancer. And Jupiter was on that new moon in Cancer, and the United States chart has Jupiter in Cancer. So the planet Jupiter is coming back around to where it was on July 4th of 1776, like it does every 12 years. So this is particularly beneficent, very beneficial for the United States. That can mean that good things are happening here. And we also see in the United States chart that Venus is in Cancer, which is, I mean, those are the two brightest planets that look so beautiful in the sky together. And so Venus is about beauty and love. And this is the caring, nurturing sign. Like, there's something about our country that likes to help people.
Yeah.
So on July 4th, Jupiter is right near the sun sign of the United States, and Venus is going to go into Cancer at the end of July, and the Jupiter and Venus are going to meet up, which is a very fairly rare thing, especially in Cancer, which is so great a place for Jupiter to be, and they're going to meet up on the sun of the United States in the say like I think it's the full moon on August 9th, 10th, whatever that is. So we've got this amazingly beautiful energy coming in. The problem
Hmm.
with Jupiter is sometimes just too much. So but also, we have Uranus going into Gemini, as I just mentioned, for the first time in 84 years. And that's where the United States has Uranus. So, this is more about the changes going on here and the revolutionary energy going on here and the awakening. We
Hmm.
call it the Great Awakening that's going on. And also the polarity that Gemini can expose, of the two sides of the same coin. And
Hmm.
hopefully, by the end of Uranus being in Gemini, there won't be two sides of the coin. We'll know we're on the same, we'll know it's the same coin. So there's and this is surprising. This is like that switch can flip like really fast. So, we can see something that totally, kind of opens things up. And again, this is not, it's volatile energy.
Yeah.
So part of it is hunker in with these Cancer planets. And I also highlighted over here Pluto in the United States chart, which in the last several years has come back around to where it was in 1776 for the first time. So we're about to have our 248th, 49th, 50th, anniversary that has brought us let's see, what's the right word? We're shrugging off power and control that is not true to the integrity of our country.
Mhm.
There's a kind of return to re-examine the Constitution, our founding principles, how this country started, the Declaration of Independence. All of that has been coming back around to reestablish, rework, redesign in some way. So just wanted to point that out that it's no accident that we are having a pretty interesting 4th of July. So the
Yeah.
other thing that's going, so I talked about the Jupiter in Cancer, that Uranus is going into Gemini, and let's see, where am I here? There. So Uranus into Gemini, let's look at that a little more. It has a great volatility, and at the same time, it's the sky god. It's this it's something going on that is, you know, adds to the gifting, adds to the awakening that is taking on a different tone now. So
Mhm.
part of this is working with your own mental framework, which is part of what Gemini represents, and be as positive minded as you can.
Yeah.
Also, I said this earlier and I'm going to say it again. So your Venus is meeting up with Uranus on July 4th as their changing sign. So to me, this is more of an indication. This happens once a year. And over the last 7 years, Uranus in Taurus has been visited by Venus in Taurus. But this year, those are both changing sign basically together. So
Oh,
this to me has definite repercussions about the global financial situation.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
flip,
It feels huge right now. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people don't follow, what's going on in other countries and such like that, but we can feel here, a kind of a hub of like what's going on
Mhm.
globally. But it is a global situation, and there's been a lot in the news about finances and about trade and about values, values. So what are our values? That's one of the primary things here. And how do we want to live? What's the lifestyle we want to be living? And so the Uranus going into Gemini is opening up new, unexpected developments, probably in technology, in information, in travel, in movement, in all the things. Gemini is like the dandelion fluff that's floating all over the place. And that's part of the problem. You don't want to be floating all over the place. Like, we need to stay grounded. We need to stay hunkered in and take care of ourselves and feel out what's going on and not get too overly excited in our nervous systems about all of this.
Yeah. It's a great time to pay attention to your mind and what you're feeding it right now.
Mhm.
And I would feed it as much positive stuff as you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And so um, here is the full moon chart coming up on July 10th. So we have the 4th. with Uranus meeting up with Venus at the end of Taurus as they're both changing sign, and Venus changes sign on the 4th, and Uranus changes sign on the 7th. And here they are on that full moon on the 10th, showing this alignment. So Gemini has a lot of options. And, I think financially, there seem to be a lot of options, developing and opening up too, and a lot of shifting. And, anyway, that's one of the big things. But also to help us, I think it's important to again consider that Pluto has stopped its forward motion to say, okay, where are we at now? What is going on globally as we are in this new Aquarian era, which is about the social context globally and how we are reconfiguring our social dynamics on a
Hmm.
global scale that maybe hasn't been able to happen in the same way until this point. And it goes up to many dimensions. It's on different dimensions. And Uranus, that is just changing sign, brings out some new dimensions that we wouldn't have considered. And Uranus rules Aquarius, where Pluto is. So there's this deep engagement with these different dimensions where new bandwidths are opening up. And I know you talk about timelines a lot, and I think this really represents, I don't know if you'd agree with me, but I think this could mean there's more splitting of timelines and
Yeah.
there's more choices about which, where you want to be.
I think as things shift in the outside and are pretty close to being resolved, like we see the big crumble, then the timelines are splitting again. And we're really right there. And I have been talking about it a little bit, like mostly on Telegram and just, discussing it with friends. But we are close to another split. And all of these timelines will be ascending, like
Hmm.
everybody's ascending, but some people want to ascend in a little bit slower fashion. They may not be ready for like Jetson, let's have, all the crazy stuff, all the crazy technology,
Yeah.
have sitting down to dinner with ETs, like that kind of thing. And some of us are ready for that. Some of us want that now. So it really just depends on what you're comfortable with. That's where your timeline is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The comfort level is the Cancer situation.
Hmm.
Cancer gets really uncomfortable if it's moving too fast. And also, it tends to kind of be attached to how things were because I knew it, that it's going to change too fast. I'm going to, it's not going to be comfortable. So this is part of the necessity for caring, self-care, taking care of yourself, going at your own pace, but also continuing to move forward and not holding on to attachments that are holding you back. And
Yeah.
that is, that's part of the Cancer thing. It has a kind of sentimental streak that likes, likes that the what was, and we're not going back. So what can we get excited about that draws us into moving forward?
Yeah.
And I think we're going to have a lot of enticements that way.
I think so. And I think that some people will want to move forward in a little slower way and maybe not so, maybe they're not ready for a flying car, right? You know, so some people will still want, maybe they'll want the water car, the water-based engine. And some people will want a flying car. And just think about
Mm.
it's okay for them to slow down, to be a little slower with it. And it's okay for us to speed up if we want to speed up. So it's really good because we're all in the fifth density right now and in the fifth dimension. So,
Right. One of
yeah.
my friends is concerned about flying cars and like what are the traffic jams going to be like? What's going to be the
Right.
air traffic control thing? Like there aren't roads up there. Like it's going to be a free for all or what? So there's got to be a plan for that and things rolling out certainly slowly in certain ways or whatever. I mean, it's just going to be wild, and that's the nature of Uranus. It's wild. And Uranus also has a lot to do with technology. And this is a very inventive placement in Gemini. So this is like really a lot of new stuff coming out. We can't take it on all at once. It's like a huge buffet. So this red line that has been active in the new moon and for several, lunations is Jupiter, which is growth and working with Neptune. And I'm pointing out Neptune because, as I just said, it just is stopping right now. It's like, okay, we've gotten as far as we can with some of the social change dynamics, and Neptune's saying, all right, like this is we're going into a little wild phase here. Stay still and really attend to your frequency, your vibrational energy. Keep that as positive as possible. Get it as steady as possible because you don't want to drop down. You want to keep where you've gotten to at the highest vibration. And then let's kind of just get that really, I don't want to say locked in, but clicked in a kind of way so we can take it the next step. And some people are going to be a little distracted and pulled out of that highest vibe with the Uranus. So that's why I love that Pluto and Neptune have just stopped and said, okay, we're not moving forward. Let's just hold on to what we've got and not hold on to it, but and I don't want to say stabilize because Uranus is not about stabilizing, but it's like
Mhm.
just keeping that wavelength so we can, number one, tune in and not be like the movie, right? Neptune rules movie. It rules the illusion. It rules like, kind of the dream state or the fantasy. So, you know, ultimately, right, life is but a dream. This is
Right.
Neptune. So there is the illusion of what we are living. There is the illusion of the world of physicality, but we've got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Um, and we're getting ready to change our perceptions along that line as our Neptune in Aries is spiritualizing the brain. Aries rules the head, rules the brain. It's opening up, new neural pathways. It's sparking synapses that are lighting us up and inspiring us. And it's like, just keep on the vibe you got going and get that stronger so that you're also not getting pulled out into the illusion. It's like we're watching a movie and it's like the movie stops and it's like a still frame and it's like okay, what's what's going on here, and taking a look at it with the new spiritualized energy that we've been moving into some ways without even knowing.
Yeah. And I feel like those two planets pausing is really important so that we can see a bigger perspective because that's
Mhm.
what it's all about. Like your perspective is so important, but also being able to see the small stuff, but also the big stuff. So
Mhm.
when we see what's bigger and we can see it from a higher perspective, then we make better decisions things just kind of calm down, and that's what pausing the movie would be. Just like if you're manipulating a dream,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's very cool.
Yeah, Saturn's still in Aries as well, which is also like let's just focus in. Let's just, adjust the camera lens so we are not getting a hazy look. The camera, the photograph is going to be out of focus. Let's try to focus in
Yeah.
and get clear about where I am with what's going on. And because we're going to have lots of this Uranus is going to really kind of sweep us off our feet to some extent.
Yeah. Which is great.
Again, hard on the nervous system. So, keep breathing, take in only so much, keep your inner sanctuary, attended to. Um, and this is going to also say, like, I was thinking about Neptune going into Aries the other day and how important this is for various, for especially, I was thinking of the people born in 70, 71, 72.
Mhm.
And every generation, because you have Neptune's in a sign for 14 years. So this is going to be a very positive development or new energy coming in for that group.
That's exciting.
Um, the Uranus factor, Uranus, say people who are born from 1942 to 3, they're going to start having Uranus come back around to where it was when they were born. It happens when you're 84. And so this is going to match their own energy and kind of complete something for them that can open new doors if they want to go there.
Nice.
Um, so that sort of thing, it's gonna affect different age groups differently.
Yeah. I think we all have a slightly different role in the different age groups, and it's really beautiful to watch, and it's kind of like building a house, really, the way that we came in. And
Mm.
we're doing different things for that house. And some of us are the foundation, and some are building the walls, and some are populating the inside of it. So it's a really cool time to be alive right now because it's time for everything to shift.
Well, I mentioned the 70, 71, 72. This is going to be a slightly challenging Uranus to some of the people born also in the 90s. It's going to be
Mhm.
a little challenging, but it's going to open doors and it's going to be very exciting. And it's like, okay, next adventure. What is that?
Yeah.
So um, yeah, that should be interesting for different peer groups, so to speak, to kind of be sharing what's going on and kind of how the storyline is changing and that there are more
Mhm.
options opening up. And some of the old rules and regulations, like you said, what did you say? It's all crumbling.
Yeah,
So
totally.
where is your level of adventure and freedom wanting to take you? And do you think you have permission? Kind of thing. So so that freeze frame thing, it's also keeping our vibration, really high. And I wanted to share this image, which is of a dragonfly, and how the dragonfly is very much a good image for the Neptune that is coming out of the water and going into a new phase. And it's ready to do that. We are ready to do that. There is this newness, this call to improvise, to try new things. And the dragonfly comes out of the water and becomes a flying creature eventually. So it's kind of like the butterfly, but it's another nature demonstration of how transformation is inherent in our nature and that we are primed for this. And when the planets are suggesting such major change, we are in it. We are feeling it and we are dancing with the planets because we are a part of this bigger picture. And it's waking us up in different ways. Like you say, we have different roles. And yeah, the people born in the late 30s and early 40s are experiencing dynamics with all of these outer planets at once. They are really, you know, getting ready to recreate who they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, that's really cool. And the
Hmm.
dragonfly is so, I mean, to me, it symbolizes the dragon, which is a very sovereign being. And we're
Hmm.
moving into massive sovereignty and sovereignty with love, you know? And a lot of people will say, oh, well, I saw a dragonfly, and I think it was a sign from a relative that has passed. And I think that the worlds are coming together now. Like the veil is so thin and it really only exists within our own mind at this point. But to let go
Yeah,
of, yeah, I just feel like just let go and let us transform. We have been trying to control our lives for so long and wanting to know what comes next. What are we going to do about it? How am I going to lay out my plans? How am I going to, those kind of things need to be let go of this month, I think. And just to really love yourself and watch things unfold for your highest good and intend it to be for your highest
absolutely.
good. Hmm.
Absolutely. You said the veil, that's another Neptune word. And it's kind of like, if we're freeze framing it, it's sort of like the curtain is lifting. And when the movie starts again, it's going to be different.
Yeah, totally different. When I was in Hawaii, we were in the waves in kind of a rocky area. So I was holding on to a rock a lot of the time because I didn't want to bang into the rocks because we were on Big Island and they were basically like lava and sharp and stuff. So, but Neptune was there and he had a lot to say that day. And he really wants to feel acknowledged because he's ready to shine. And I feel like this is what's going on. Like he is ready to shine and he's going to shine in a beautiful way for humanity. And I'm glad that he was highlighted today because I mentioned him in a video before because he asked me to. Said, I want to make sure that I am not confused with Poseidon anymore. I am my own individual being. And he is really stepping into shining right now because he's going to be helping with all this energy. And he's an energetic being as well as a planet.
In Aries, Aries is about the new light.
Yeah,
Aries, fresh start. Aries is like, yeah, one of the fire and the integrity.
right.
So center and clarity. So that's really beautiful. Yeah, a
Love
lot of
this.
options, a lot of newness, and that's like we need to welcome this new change in and get a feel for it and what it means to us because old plans are old. With new options coming forward, it can absolutely change what's even possible for us in ways that would be hard to believe. So
Yeah.
that's part of the challenge too, to
The
let go.
challenge. And that's why it's good to take a moment and look at it from a higher perspective, your own life and the whole world in general.
Mhm.
And just see, I mean, the world itself is shifting and it's almost like puzzle pieces that are coming together now and they're on
Mhm.
dials or something and they're starting to come together and they're coming together for our best interests, for
Yeah.
this planet to thrive.
And there might be some new pieces coming with Uranus and Gemini. Gemini is all the pieces of the puzzle. We don't even all have them all yet.
Right.
So, um, and Um, so we are going to have a pause moment when on the 17th of July, Mercury goes retrograde, and we're going to be glad. It's like, okay, like, all right, what's been going on here?
That's
A
good.
lot of drama, so this gives us time to kind of just sort things out a bit and figure out which pieces we want in our puzzle, and some of the pieces that we already had are not going to stay. And, yes, very collage-like. So,
Yeah. It feels like a massive shift.
yes, it
And
is.
yeah.
It is. It's a
Mhm.
it's a wake-up call. And
Yeah.
we've been waking up a lot, but this is a whole nother level. This is the higher mind and the lower mind are aligning more powerfully. So we'll know things more instantly with that intuitive side, and our psychic side can also be opening up, and the freshness and being open to receiving is also really important with the Cancer energy.
So cool. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Kelley. This was really good. And
I
I'm
think it's
really
time.
excited for July. So,
Well, here
yeah,
we are
here we are. We're
already.
in it, you guys. And we're coming into such an amazing time right now. And just start to feel it in your body, but also take time to take care of yourselves during this time. And
One thing I want to say is the birds. I was, meeting with, I was in town this morning, and a lot of us were talking about how vocal the birds have been.
Mhm,
I
they
don't know if
are.
you, yeah, yeah, there's something
Yeah.
about that. And Gemini is where the birds live in the air, and they fly around, and sometimes they like to land on phone wires, you know.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
they're
we
in
have a lot of them here and there. There was a period of time where there weren't hardly any birds,
the,
like in 2022, maybe beginning of 2023. It's like all the birds just kind of disappeared. We didn't see them or hear them very often. And now
mm,
they're very loud, very vocal every morning and even throughout the day. And we have this one bird that sounds like an alarm and creates this like a siren. And I'm like, okay, the siren's going off, but it's amazing and wonderful. And these are birds that
mm.
like they that song gets into your body. So it's actually really good for all of us, the birds. I'm glad you
Reminding
mentioned
us all through the day. They're
that.
reminding us.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's great. So I just wanted to say thank you so much, Kelley. I wanted to let everybody know that your links are down below and especially check out your Substack. And I'm just so excited for the world and how it's unfolding. And I'm excited to meet with you again soon. And everything is good right now. So just enjoy it, you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great. Love you guys. Bye. Thank you, Kelley.